Within the state of Virginia itself, yourself included, how many Hispanic, Latino office holders are there, and when do you see somebody running for Congress or a statewide office in Virginia?
Very few. Very few.
Very few, are a few or very few?
Very few.
Very few.
Very few, sure. In Arlington, we have 3. We have currently the school board chair of Arlington is Emma Violan Sanchez, who happens to be of Bolivian roots, and she's a wonderful Dr. Violan Sanchez, I should say, because she has a PhD. We have State Delegate Alfonso Lopez, who also was elected recently, and myself, who was the first Latino elected in Arlington. And so, we have a long way to go. I think that, but many of us also believe that what we need to do is work with the family, work with bringing people along, creating leadership, and we have a lot of young people, a network that we built for many years of work that many people are now in position to begin thinking about running.
You talked about an enthusiasm gap, you called it, in the Latino community in the lead up to this election. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. There's no question that many of us who would describe ourselves as progressives could find some things that we're in particular thrilled with the Obama administration over the first 4 years. And myself, one of the great gauges is the lack of progress on immigration reform. And I think in June, though, of this year, things changed, because while the president did try with bipartisan efforts to enact the DREAM Act in 2010 and failed because simply the Republicans didn't come to the table to help make that happen, and we had encouraged the administration to through organizations like the National Council of La Raza, NALEO, the National Association of Latino Elected and Appointed Officials, that the president did have the executive discretion to make a decision. Well, he wanted to do it bipartisanly. He did act in June to allow what's called deferred action, so that our young people who came to this country of no fault of their own can have an aspiration to come out of the shadows by getting a work permit and then aspiring to pay in-state tuition and continue their education. This is what the people that we refer to as the dreamers. That was a significant impact to many of us who had some skepticism about it, but clearly, when you come down to it, when you compare it to the other side that said self-deportation.
You had no choice, really.
Well, that sounds really nice, but exactly what does that mean? You make life so miserable, uncomfortable for someone. So you embrace laws like the Arizona law, like Alabama, like Prince William in this area to make people leave. That's simply wrong, and it doesn't rub us well.
You didn't have really a choice given the positions of the Romney campaign. What do you make of the Republican governors, I think, meeting in Las Vegas, and others who are now saying post-election that the party made a mistake by not reaching out to the Latino Hispanic community with a more humane policy towards immigration? Remember, Newt Gingrich, many people think is a right-wing conservative lunatic sometimes, but he said in his effort to be president, we can't deport grandmothers. We're not going to do that. We have to have a humane policy. Do you believe that the Republican Party is just going through post-election withdrawal agony, or do you think they will actually move on that issue?
And what do you think they should be doing?
Well, I think it's time to say welcome to the table. I think that we need to focus on constructive ways to once and for all resolving issues. Those of us who have the privilege to get elected, in our case, to local offices, to solve specific local problems and not to punt them down the road or kick the can down the road. This has been an issue that the Republican Party has alienated in large part, not only the Latino community, but a multitude of other people, some who are born and raised in this country. And I think that part of what is at play here is that we need to really focus on what's happening here. The Democrats want immigration reform. The Republicans need immigration reform. Otherwise, if the Republicans continue to embrace those harsh, punitive policies, then they will continue to lose generations of Latino voters. And frankly, I think it's time that for a new start. Once the election has taken place, we all need to embrace the democracy. You know, I had to swallow hard in 2000 and in 2004, and I was invited to a number of radio stations to speak because I've been actively promoting the Democrats and so on. And I said, you know what? We have to respect the process. The opposition won. Let's work together to make things happen. So I think it's time for us to really put the whatever talking points or extremist view, both on the left and on the right, aside, and really think, look, we have 11 million people. We have to find out who are among those are able to qualify for an earned legalization, and that we can focus on immigration reform.